Welcome to Meaningful Mornings and a joyous Arbor Day to all. Our Earth's birthday was April 22nd. That's Earth Day. And Arbor Day is the last Friday of April. That's when you give the gift to Earth for her birthday. Don't we do that? We're in a rush to get to a party that we forget to give a gift. That's why Arbor Day happens after Earth Day. We began Prithvi Seva Sangha, a community to serve our Earth, on January 27th. January 30th. I remember this because it is Gandhiji's death celebration. At that time, our community came together to support the Environmental Defense Fund. And we did with $25,502. At one point, we were the top fundraiser for that organization. On February 27th, we began fundraising for Puvidam Rural Trust Development, or Development Trust. Many of you got to listen to Meenakshi-ji recently. And we raised $18,009. On March 13th, a special effort came into our community, and that was to feed the hungry in Hungary. And we raised $25,102. And on March 27th, we began our efforts to support One Tree Planted. The end of this is today, Arbor Day. Thus far, we have raised $19,803. That means 19,803 trees. In addition to that, we have planted 934 trees. I hope you're inspired by these numbers. The calculation of all of this, exactly 90 days have passed from January 30th to April 29th. Today, we still have many hours. Our community has raised $88,416 for our Earth. We are raising $1,000 a day for our Earth. I was listening to a recent study that was analyzing whether those who receive organ donations should know who gave them those organs, alive or not. And many studies have shown that when the organ receiver knows who the organ donor is, they are more grateful then. And that organ normalizes itself in that body. It feels like it has a greater purpose. As we celebrate Arbor Day, let us be grateful to our Earth. Let us express our gratitude with generosity to our Earth, because she will stay more than. Like an organ stays in a body, she will stay with us. A searcher is one who inquires. They're always trying to find out more about what's outside of them. And so what do they tune into? Samsara. Samsara means that which is changing. So they go on spinning. A seeker is one who inquires. They want to know what's going on in their inner world. And they tune into tattvataha. That is the word that Sri Krishna uses. They tune into the foundation. So they don't spin, they are serene. Sri Krishna right now is trying to teach us, once you tune into the foundation, there is nothing but the foundation. All inside of you is divine, all outside of you is divine. Yesterday in our 100 Steps to Infinity class, I asked everyone what they ate for lunch. And they said idli and dosa. And I thought how privileged they are that they got to eat that for lunch. I was thinking about what I ate for dinner last night. Cold ravioli, half-eaten mangoes, Brussels sprouts with some sort of condiments that our kids put on it. I'm like a compost bin. That's a better description of me. Instead of father, compost bin. But then I told all of the students, really what you ate was earth, correct? Those are just different combinations and permutations of earth. Sri Krishna is teaching the same in terms of foundation. All are different combinations and permutations of the foundation. In our study of Maya, one of the questions in Srimad Bhagavatam is, what is Maya? And the response given by the Rishi, Maya is Sarja, is creation. And then later on, the question is, how does one cross over Maya, Taranti? And the answer given is Narayana. It is to shift one's investment from the creation to the creator, from Maya to Bhagwan. And that will come out very clearly in the next two verses. But I want to share with you one more reflective point, coming back to Bhagavatam. How many Devis or wives does Sri Krishna have who are named, who have personalities? Anyone want to share in the chat? 8, exactly. Sri Krishna symbolizes awareness, and the Devis symbolize the reflection of awareness. Now, isn't that what Sri Krishna just shared? That I express as these 8. That I am awareness and I'm reflecting myself in the elements, in the mind, in the intellect, in the ego. Incredible how sophisticated our scriptures are. One final point, I can't stop talking about these verses. We should do a verse a week. Do you have the patience for that? Did you notice that in verse 4, Ahankara was in a separate quarter? Only Ahankara was listed separately because that's what the ego does. It makes us feel separate and then starts to own the intellect, the mind, articles being circumstances. Verse 5. Apareyam itastwanyam prakritim vidhi me param jiva bhuta mahabaho yayedam dharyate jagat. Apare, which means lower. Iyam itaha tu anyam. What I just described in verse 4 is lower. But there is that which is different. That's the translation. Here is the implication. What Sri Krishna described in verse 4, and now in this quarter, he's describing all of this as the lower prakriti, the lower expression. Other ways to understand this, all of this is inert. All of this is an expression. All of this is Maya. Is everyone clear? Everything in verse 4, now shared in the first quarter, he's saying is one expression of me. Now we go to the second quarter. Prakritim vidhi me param, but you should know that there's a higher prakriti. You should know that there is a difference between what I just shared and who I am, what I am. The word prakriti has the etymology prakashena yogyata iti prakriti. Prakashena yogyata iti prakriti, which means prakriti is that which has the ability to create diversity. Has the ability to create diversity. So, as we reflect on this, Shri Krishna is one, and from that oneness comes manyness. He is the foundation of Prakriti, but the word we commonly come across is Purusha. As we flow through these verses, it is imperative that you be patient for us to go verse by verse by verse. Though you can be enlightened by one verse, these verses are shared by Sri Krishna with one thought flow. So if this verse doesn't make so much sense right now, remember there was a preceding verse and a proceeding verse. All of that has to be reflected upon for this puzzle to come together. Jiva bhutam, mahabaho, Prince Arjuna, my higher nature is what is infused in my lower nature. My higher nature is not inert, it is consciousness. It is not an effect, it is a cause. It is not Maya, it is Bhagwan. The connection between verse 4 and 5, you first have to know 5 before you start to feel 4. It's so easy to say, all is divine. But we don't feel that. But if you can establish yourself in the foundation, then it does make sense that the cause expresses as the effect. Then we don't get trapped in samsara because we're tuned in the tattva. He specifies, yaya, it is by this higher, idam dharyate jagat, that this lower is upheld, that this lower functions. In the commentary of Pujaswami Chinmayananda, he gives the example of electricity and a bulb. That bulb is in effect, correct? The cause for that bulb is electricity. The bulb is insentient. It only starts to operate because of electricity. The way that Pujaswami Tejomayananda shared this, Prakriti should be serving Purusha. Purusha should not be serving Prakriti. Now, specifying this even more, what this means is we should not depend on Prakriti. Prakriti depends on Purusha. That dependency shows lack of sustainability, lack of stability. So we shouldn't depend on this. I'm trying to share this in a more practical way. In our class last night, I had shared with everyone, how do we help society objectify bodies less? In terms of using hair dye, in terms of being on diets and so on. How do we do that? That's for you to reflect on. One way I feel we can do this is care less about your appearance. Why? Because it's the lower Prakriti, isn't it? If you're giving so much to the lower Prakriti, how can you ever tune into the higher Purusha? Sri Krishna continues this thought in the next verse. From inspiration to application. Your application yesterday was, no excuses, plant a tree. How many of you have planted a tree during our One Tree Planted campaign? Okay, I see lots of hands of no excuses. In Srimad Bhagavatam, there is a rishi whose name is Drumila. Drumila means a tree. Drumila also means compassion, because one of the most compassionate facets of creation are trees. They give and give and give. They sacrifice and sacrifice and sacrifice. So I'm very happy with what our community has done for Arbor Day, gifting our mother. Your application for today, and it's awesome because it will carry over to Monday, care about your appearance 50% less. Care about your appearance 50% less. And why I'm excited about this is you'll probably be going to a party tonight or tomorrow. So I would love to know how you're feeling at this party. And those in the silence retreat, you're welcome. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Be safe, be sound, be serene, be joy.